October art challenges. You love them, or more likely hate them, but either way, they are a big part of the art community and have been for years. From Inktober to Cringetober to OCtober, which is the challenge I will be participating in. Hello everyone, my name is Blue, and like I just said, I chose to do OCtober this year, only drawing my original characters for a month straight. But when looking through all the prompt lists that people have already made, nothing really stood out to me, so I made my own. Well, correction, my sister and I made our own prompt list. And if you want to see some of her drawings from this challenge, she has a couple posted on her Instagram. And when we made this prompt list, we decided to have breaks on every Saturday, just to make it easier for ourselves. It's our challenge, we make the rules. But yeah, let's get into it. Day 1, group photo. And here, I'll just take the time to introduce all of these characters, cause I'm only drawing this one friend group for this whole challenge. First, we have Midnight, the youngest of the group. They're about 17, they're kind of a punk, and they have very chaotic little sibling energy. They love to mess with the rest of the group like any little sibling would, especially with Lauren, who we'll talk about in a minute. But they also enjoy playing baseball and they love comic books. And next we have Theo. He's 18 years old. He's very cool and chill. He loves music and record collecting, and I think I also decided that he plays bass guitar. And then we have Mariah. She is also 18, but just a couple months older than Theo. She's very sweet and somewhat anxious, and she's pretty nerdy, and her special interest is comic books, which is how her and Midnight kind of met. And next we have Michelle. She's also a very sweet person. She's kind of like the princess of the group, except not in like a spoiled way. And she loves thrifting and antique jewelry and furniture. I feel like this whole group probably enjoys thrifting, but her the most. And last but not least, we have Lauren. She's 19 and the oldest of the group, and she enjoys plants and playing the guitar. She's very confident and has big sister energy, especially with Midnight. They're not siblings, but they might as well be. Her and Michelle are dating, and they're basically like the moms of the group. As you'll see, there's kind of a found family dynamic happening here. Found family is like my favorite trope, I couldn't help it. And yeah, that's all of them. I'm a little nervous sharing them because I've had these guys for years and I've never really posted them that much besides on Instagram once or twice. I'm very attached to them, I love them a lot, and I hope you guys do too because this entire video is going to be about them. Day 2, Alt Fashion. Now this is a much simpler drawing, but I was not going to put that much effort into every drawing. I would be burnt out within the first week. We kind of put one big prompt each week, and since the first was a Wednesday, we just reserved all of the bigger prompts for Wednesdays. Anyway, I decided to draw Mariah for this one. I usually draw her in a more twee style, which is, I guess, kind of already alt, but I wanted it to be a bit darker, so I went with a more whimsy goth vibe. And I think I like the first outfit better, but they're both cute. Also, can I please just draw her with consistent hair length? Like, why does her hair look completely different on both drawings? What the hell? This is why most of my characters have short hair. Day 3, Animal Features. This was a pretty fun and silly one. I drew Midnight for this one. You are going to be seeing a lot of Midnight. I'm not biased. I don't have any favorites. What are you talking about? Anyways, I drew them with little dog ears and a tail because they kind of remind me of a dog sometimes for certain reasons. Foreshadowing. But yeah, they also kind of just have the same energy as a dog, so I thought it would be cute. But yeah, simple drawing, but I think it turned out fine. Day 4 was a break day, so moving forward, Day 5, old art redraw. I went back through some old sketchbooks and I decided on this drawing, which is from late 2021. I guess the context was they were playing Mario Party together, but this drawing actually predates Theo and Mariah. And instead there was this other character of mine, Margaret, who I haven't drawn in a while. But she's not really a part of this friend group, so I obviously replaced her. Sorry, Margaret, maybe I'll draw you again one day. I changed the composition completely as well. The old one just kind of felt empty, But I remember it was kind of the best that I could do at the time, and I was pretty proud of it when I made it. But yeah, as you can see, Midnight probably just beat Lauren in a game of Mario Kart or Mario Party, and Theo and Mariah are looking at each other because they know Lauren is about to kick Midnight's ass. And you know, it's only day 5, but I really like this one. It might be one of my favorites from this challenge. Day 6, formal clothes. I drew Lauren and Michelle for this one because they're in love. They're probably on like a date or something, but because of the poses I put them in, it kind of looks like they're on like a red carpet or something, which was not the intention, but that's kind of funny. Also, I'm just gonna say I probably don't have a good concept of what formal is. It's not really my thing, but I tried and I think these are formal. Lauren usually wears skirts and like more feminine things like casually, but I really wanted to draw her in more of like a suit type of situation. And I drew Michelle in a nice like satiny dress, and I think it really fits her. I remember struggling with this drawing for literally no reason. I just couldn't get it right, so I kept erasing it and redrawing it. I guess I was just having a bad drawing day, but despite that, I think it turned out really good. Day 7, beach day. Yeah, not a very fall prompt, but it's fine. I drew Michelle and Theo because out of the whole group, they definitely like the beach the most. And honestly, I feel like I could have done something bigger with this prompt, but I just wanted to keep it simple and I drew them in some bathing suits. Theo was easy to draw here because I just gave him a swimsuit and kept his same shirt. And designing Michelle's swimsuit was fun, but the colors were giving me so much trouble. The idea I had in mind just wasn't translating to paper, and I wanted to add pink, but it just wasn't working, and I just had to take a second and rethink what I was doing. But it was an easy fix, and I think it turned out a lot better than what I had in mind. I think she's so cute. Day 8, fake media screenshot. This prompt is basically for those of us who wish they had the time or money to make a show or comic with their characters. So this prompt was originally fake cartoon screenshot, which was a prompt that was on a lot of Cringetober lists. But I've been so fixated on like Batman, and along with that I've been really inspired by like comic art styles and the way a lot of comic book artists do their line art, which you could kind of see that inspiration on my old art redraw. So that and the fact that I didn't have a lot of inspiration for a fake cartoon screenshot, I decided to do a comic page. So again, this prompt is basically just like, pretend your OCs have some sort of official media. And yeah, this is another one of my favorite drawings from this challenge. I really like how the line art came out. I still have a lot of improvement to do for the whole comic book art style thing, but we're getting there. Midnight and Mariah are complete opposites, but they're literally best friends. And I love showing off how different they are through their body language and just the way they convey themselves. It's so fun. And because I love projecting onto my OCs, this page is just them trying to convince the others to dress as Batman characters for Halloween, which yes, that will come back later. Ooh, foreshadowing. Day 9, outfit swap. For this, I chose 2 characters that I thought had the biggest difference in style. And to me, that was Theo and Lauren. Theo prefers more like baggier clothes, and Lauren likes something more fitted. And even though you can see Lauren doesn't care for the outfit, I actually don't think she looks that bad. These colors kind of look nice on her, to be honest. But I will always continue to draw her in her signature green and pink. And obviously Theo is just slaying in that outfit. And after making this, I really want to draw them interacting more often. I really don't draw them together as much as I should, but this drawing is really cute, so I definitely will. And day 10, song lyrics. And this one I did Midnight to the song Mad Dog by the Crane Wives. And I didn't really choose this song because of the meaning. I posted a drawing of them to a private account with this song once, and now I think of them every time I hear it. You know, this song, to my knowledge, is about like chasing the unattainable, and that's not really a part of Midnight's story, but like, it can be. Just watch me, I'll write that into Midnight's character, trust. I also just couldn't think of any other song to choose, to be honest. But yeah, I really like what I did with the colors. I think like the warm tone shading is actually really fun. And I like the way that I wrote the lyrics because it kind of makes it look like a poster almost. But yeah, this drawing turned out pretty good. Day 11 was a break day, so day 12, pajamas. And yeah, it's midnight again. For this one, I was thinking of that one OC dynamic meme that was like the extravagant robe, the sickly Victorian nightgown with the candle, and then like the heart polka dot boxers, if you know what I'm talking about. And I wasn't about to draw that whole meme, but I thought it would be hilarious to draw Midnight in the heart boxers because they would wear those as pajamas for sure. I love how this drawing turned out. It's so cute and like silly and dumb. And I love the background too. You will see it in a minute. It's simple like the rest of them, but for some reason it's just so cute. But yeah, I love Midnight. They're so goofy. I draw them a lot this challenge, so get used to it. Day 13, OC ship. And of course, I had to draw Lauren and Michelle. They're the only ones within the friend group who are in a relationship, and like I said earlier, they're both kind of the moms of the group. I imagine they share an apartment of some kind, even though maybe 19 is a bit young to have moved out already. Unless they're in like college or something, but I have no idea if they are. But anytime this friend group is hanging out, it's always at their place. Honestly, they're probably over there enough that they should start paying bills at this point. But yeah, it's basically just like a second home for everybody, which I love so much. Again, found family, I'm obsessed. Anyways, this drawing turned out so cute. I love the pose that they're in, they're adorable, especially Michelle, they're so cute. Anyways, I like this drawing, but enough romance, moving on. Wait a second, that's not one of my OCs. Ah yes, day 14, Friends OC. This is Tiffany, and she belongs to my sister, who I mentioned earlier. Tiffany is from a separate universe, but my sister does have OCs in the universe that my group is in. The best part about having an artist sister is that you can draw your characters interacting together. But that's besides the point, we're not talking about that universe. Drawing her character was really interesting. I don't have any characters with birthmarks like that, so that was pretty fun. It's honestly a really interesting feature to add, and I don't see it used in character design very often. Also, random detail. But the outfit she's wearing, you can't see it well, but it's actually made up of clothes that my sister owns in real life that we just styled to look like something that she'd wear. Yeah, we're kind of geniuses, I know. Besides the key necklace, she always wears that. Anyways, this was really fun. I actually love her so much, and I like how this drawing turned out too. Okay. Bam. Oh, she looks so cute! Oh my goodness gracious, wait! Her saying midnight, because obviously. Oh my days, she's so cute! Oh my gosh. Oh, that's my child. Day 15, Pumpkin Patch. This one was a bit more challenging because I don't do backgrounds as often as I should. And you know, this perspective isn't perfect, but I'm happy with how it turned out. I think my biggest struggle when it comes to backgrounds is definitely colors. I know how tones and values work, but when I try to apply that to backgrounds while also trying to make it look cohesive, I just start overthinking it way too much. But with all that being said, I do like how this drawing turned out. I just think that's something I have to work on and learn how to do better. But anyways, I have the 3 girls in the front, Michelle and Lauren just looking at pumpkins, and Mariah is wondering where the other 2 are. But they're just in the back looking at a giant pumpkin. Because they can't be satisfied by any old pumpkin. No, they have to have the biggest one there. So they're planning on entering the raffle to win it. Which, are pumpkin raffles a thing? Do places do that? It doesn't matter. This place does it because I made it up. But yeah, spoiler alert, this is not the last you'll be seeing of the giant pumpkin. But yeah, this inspires me to work on backgrounds more. I can see a lot of places where I do need improvement. And I would love to just be one of those artists who can draw backgrounds with some of the most beautiful color palettes. But we'll get there eventually. Day 16, silly outfit. When thinking of what to do for this prompt, I remembered this meme that I redrew a couple months ago with Midnight, and I thought that'd be easy enough to recreate, so I just drew them in that SpongeBob shirt. And I really think that Midnight would own this, like, canonically. I really think that they'd have, like, the most random wardrobe ever. Like, they have cool clothes, but if you were looking through their closet, you'd find some of the most ridiculous stuff ever. But they think it's, like, so sick. And you know what? Maybe because it is. Maybe they have better taste than all of us. Anyways, I love Midnight if you couldn't tell. Day 17, Pokemon Trainer. And if you thought I could go one video without talking about Pokemon, you'd be severely mistaken. I swear, it's like a curse at this point. I have to talk about Pokemon in every video. What the hell? Anyways, for this I drew Mariah with an Alolan Muck. And I know what you're probably not thinking. Oh, but she wears purple. Why wouldn't she have a normal Muck? It would fit her color scheme better. But originally, her color palette was actually ripped directly from Alolan Muck for certain reasons before I redesigned her. Ooh, more foreshadowing. I know you're probably sick of the foreshadowing, but trust me, we'll get to it. Anyway, I actually really like how this drawing turned out. Even though for a while I was struggling to get Muck to look right in the sketch, I actually think this drawing is really cute and I'm actually pretty proud of it. It's also kind of funny to me that you'd think Mariah would have a much smaller, cuter Pokemon, but then she has a Muck. I don't know, I just love how silly that feels. Okay, my hands are purple. Okay, and there's nothing you can do about it. I was tie-dyeing for Halloween costumes. You're just gonna have to look at my ugly, vile hands for a couple days until the stain goes away. Apologies. Yeah, I regret to inform that it does get worse in a couple of days, but that's a later problem. Anyways, day 18 was a break day, so moving on. Day 19, as kids. I drew Midnight and Lauren for this one, and I was losing my mind drawing this. They are so cute. They're probably around 7 and 9 years old here, so about 10 years in the past. And they're probably the only ones who knew each other as kids. Their moms were friends, so Lauren's mom always brought her over to try to introduce her to Midnight's older siblings, but she didn't like them very much because they were kind of rude and boring, so she got along with Midnight much better despite them being younger. And Lauren is an only child, and Midnight is the youngest of about 4 siblings, I think. And Midnight never really got along with their siblings either, so Lauren was a much better older sister. I love them so much. Baby Midnight is just so cute. Here's just a quick warning for fake blood. If you're sensitive to that, here's a timestamp you can skip to, and watch out for it at the very end during the slideshow. Day 20, scary movie. There are a couple different things you could do for this prompt. Like, you could draw them sitting and watching a scary movie together, but Scream 1996 is one of my favorite movies of all time. So I drew Midnight and Theo as Stu Macher and Billy Loomis in the iconic final scene. And you know, in a way, they kind of match Billy and Stu's vibe, minus the murdering and the homoerotic tension. So I thought this was really fitting, and I actually love how this drawing turned out. I also try to add more depth to the shading because the last few drawings I did were pretty simple, and I was getting kind of bored of just the flat shading, so that was pretty fun. But yeah, I love these two, they're just so silly. Day 21, weird color palette. And for this one, I drew Theo again. I took this opportunity to experiment with some cool lighting in his color palette of blue, orange, and yellow, and I really love how it ended up looking. It makes me really want to try more interesting lighting like this. It was a lot of fun figuring out where the highlights and shadows would be, and you know, I don't know if it's fully correct, but I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. But yeah, I love Theo. I feel bad because I feel like all the stuff that I've written about his character feels so surface level, but I will write more for him, I swear. I do think I made a lot of good developments for these characters because they were constantly on my mind through this challenge, obviously. But there's still a lot to be written about, and good thing I'm not sick of these guys yet, even though I drew them for a month straight. Guys, it got worse. And Please? Ignore the hands. And the person laughing behind me. Ignore it. Yeah, I'm really sorry about how my hands look during the speed paint. Luckily, it does look better by the next one. It washes out quick, but oh my days. Anyways, day 22, carving pumpkins. And hey, remember the giant pumpkin Midnight and Theo were looking at in the pumpkin patch prompt? Yeah, well, they got it, because of course they did. And the other three are just questioning them and wondering how the hell they're supposed to dispose of the pumpkin at the end of the season. But it's fine. That's a later issue. I basically tried to swap them so the composition would be the opposite of the pumpkin patch drawing. So now Midnight and Theo are in the front and the other three are in the back, just staring at them very concerned. I love Theo and Midnight's dynamic. Theo is a very chill guy, but he's also kind of an enabler for Midnight's chaos. Obviously, he wouldn't let them do anything dangerous, but if he thinks the situation would be funny, then yeah, he wants to see it. Anyways, I love how this drawing turned out. I love Midnight's facial expressions, they're just so silly. Day 23, video game. This one is pretty simple. I didn't have a lot of ideas, but I thought it would be very cute to draw Michelle as Princess Peach. And yeah, I was right, she is very cute. I imagine, even though Michelle is not much of a gamer, Princess Peach is probably her go-to Mario Kart character. So I thought this would be very fitting. I mean, I did describe her as being a bit of a princess earlier. But yeah, this was a very easy drawing, but it turned out good, so I'm happy with it. I love Michelle so much, she's so cute. I also want to write a lot more for her character for sure. Day 24, Fear/Nightmare. I was kind of having a difficult time coming up with something for this one, because surprisingly, I haven't really gotten that into the more angsty side of these characters. I know, shocking, artists do love their angst. So I almost did something that was a bit more jokey, but I was able to come up with something. So Midnight's biggest fear is conformity. They grew up in a house where being different was sort of frowned upon, a very sad beige household, if you will. So they always kind of felt like the black sheep of the family. Their mom especially always wanted them to look and act a certain way, and that's another reason why they don't really get along with their siblings, because their siblings never had an issue with that like they did. But that's also why they became so close with Lauren when they met. She's kind of the one who got them to start rebelling when they were a kid, which I guess is somewhat backfired because now Midnight is complete chaos out of Lauren's control, and they love messing with them like an annoying little sibling. So yeah, I drew them in plain clothing, without all their piercings, and the roots of their hair just growing back in. Ugh, this is so sad. Who would ever do this to them? Why would I do this to them? Day 25 was another break day, so day 26, meme redraw. For this, I chose the one of the lady yelling at the cat, cause I feel like most of the drawings I've made of Lauren and Midnight can be summed up to just this one meme. Cut back to what I just said about Midnight always messing with Lauren. And then there's Michelle being a bystander because she knows they're not actually fighting, they're just like this. This actually isn't even the first time that I've drawn them as this meme. I did a couple months ago, but it was just kind of a doodle, and this one's a lot more detailed. And I actually love this one so much, they're so funny. I love Midnight's expression, I love Lauren's expression, it's just, they make me laugh, I love them so much. I also love how the colors in the background turned out, even though it's literally like nothing, it's just like green. It just is cohesive and I like it. But yeah, I'm happy with how this turned out. I don't have anything else to say, I love my OCs so much, I'm obsessed with them. Day 27, old versus most recent design. And guys, here's the big plot twist. Yep, these characters are based on Pokemon. Yeah, Pokemon follows me everywhere I go. But yes, they're all based on my Pokemon Moon team, and that's what the foreshadowing was earlier. So yeah, all of the OCs in this universe are based off of Pokemon, because I used to give all of my Pokemon characters personalities. And you know, there was a good amount of lore, but that's all I'm gonna reveal. So yeah, Michelle is based off of Primarina, Lauren is based on Lurantis, Mariah is based on Alolan Muck, which is why I gave her one in the Pokemon trainer prompt. Theo is based off of Toucanon, and Midnight is based on Lycanroc, which is why they remind me of a dog sometimes, like I said at the beginning. But anyways, I drew Michelle for this one because I think she had one of the biggest redesigns. And you know, her original design isn't horrible, but it literally just looks like a Primarina Gijinka, which wasn't even my goal back then, so I don't know why I did that. Like, it just looked like a Primarina as a human, not like an original character design. And you can still see some of that inspiration in her current design, it's just toned down and a lot more original looking. And then yes, I drew a Primarina because that is her true original design. Day 28, Alice in Wonderland. Guys, at this point, I was running behind on prompts. I think I was drawing this on the 30th or 31st. And there were a couple times during this challenge where I was behind, but I was able to catch up. But I was getting really tired at this point, but we keep going. But this prompt was a lot of fun. I had seen it on other prompt lists before, and I thought it would be really interesting to add to this one. So, I made Michelle Alice, Mariah as the White Rabbit, because they both have that kind of anxious energy, Theo as the Cheshire Cat, Lauren as the Queen of Hearts, and Midnight as the Mad Hatter. I love all the heart details I was able to add to Lauren's design, like the ponytails being heart-shaped. Yeah, I'm pretty proud of that one. And at first, I was going to make Mariah Alice, but Michelle fits so much better, and the White Rabbit makes a lot of sense for Mariah. I love Midnight's crazy eyes, I think they make a great Mad Hatter, and I really like the outfit I came up with for Theo, even though you can't really see it. I think it looks nice. Day 29, Halloween costumes. And this prompt could have been on Halloween, but like I said earlier, all the big prompts were on Wednesdays, and the 29th happened to be a Wednesday, so. But anyways, if you remember, this is what the comic page was foreshadowing. So yes, I did dress them up as Batman characters. We have Midnight as Batman, Mariah as Riddler. I also thought of making her the Joker because the Joker also has a green and purple color scheme, but I decided that her favorite character is Riddler and she has a massive hyperfixation on him because I thought that would be silly. I love making my characters nerds. And it took me a second to decide who I wanted Theo to be. I couldn't pick between Robin or Nightwing, which are technically the same character but like different suit. Anyway, but I felt like Theo would choose Nightwing because he's cool and I also feel like it fits him. And then Lauren is Poison Ivy and Michelle is Harley Quinn. Like I said earlier, Midnight and Mariah are both huge comic book fans, so they're both having the time of their lives. Anyway, I feel like this drawing could have turned out better, but I was just glad to get it over with. I still like it though. Day 30, Cozy. Okay, at this point, I'm just tired, so this is a pretty simple drawing. I just drew Lauren and Michelle again. I really like how Lauren looked with her hair down in the last one, so I drew that again. And I was having a difficult time with this prompt because at first I was trying to do something more detailed than this, but I was just struggling, so I gave up on that and I did this instead. But I'm glad I did because I actually really like how this turned out. It was actually so nice just drawing a basic close-up portrait after all of those very detailed drawings. The simplicity was so nice. But yeah, it was November at this point. It was the second to last drawing, and I did not want to spend too much time on little details because we're almost at the finish line. And finally, day 31, Candy, the last prompt. And for this, I did Mariah, Theo, and Midnight looking at their trick-or-treat haul. I think one of the best parts about trick-or-treating was looking at all the candy and trading with friends. I imagine even though they're a bit older, Theo and Midnight still enjoy trick-or-treating, and they convinced Mariah to go with them, and she ended up having a great time. And then Lauren and Michelle stayed home to hand out candy. And once again, this isn't the most detailed drawing ever, but I really like how it turned out. I also really like these three as a trio. I should honestly draw them more. We have Midnight, who is just complete chaos, Mariah, who is reserved and calm, and then Theo, who's just kind of a perfect balance. Anyways, this drawing turned out good. I'm happy with it. It's finally done. And that's it. I completed OC-tober 2025. It got a little rough by the end, but I completed it, and I'm pretty happy with how all of the drawings turned out. which above everything else, that was pretty much my goal. I've done 2 month-long challenges like this in the past, and I remember not liking some of the drawings even as soon as I finished them. And I really wanted to look at these by the end of the challenge and be proud of them, so I really made sure that I was happy with the sketches before I lined and colored them, and I'm glad I did. Who knew putting effort into your work actually pays off? And honestly, this challenge just made me more excited to draw my OCs some more, maybe after just a quick break. But anyways, thanks for watching. Like I said at the beginning, this prompt list was made by me and my sister, and if you want to see some of her drawings, she does have an Instagram, like I said. Also, follow my Instagram, like, subscribe, whatever YouTubers usually tell you to do, and bye-bye. Bye!